Guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Sbahle Mkhize and this is my channel. Thank you so much if you're a regular liker, regular sharer, honey. Gang. Thank you so much for continuing to watch my videos and subscribing and sharing and commenting. And if you are new here today, welcome to this channel. I hope that you stay by clicking that subscribe button so that you don't miss another video by me. Guys, you can see by the title of this video, we're going to be talking about my mental health journey and the lessons that I've learned through therapy. September this year is a big month for me. This is my 1 year anniversary in therapy, so I've been attending therapy or going to therapy for 1 year. It's been hectic, it's been tough, it's been good, it's been a roller coaster. I get so emotional when I think about where I was this time last year. I was, going through heartbreak. I had, had been in lockdown in China. I was just going. I'm in Goisha, guys. When Goisha, I had all my problems coming at me at full speed, and I just didn't know how to approach it and how to handle it. And I remember September last year, I was sitting in my house and I was just like praying and like I don't know what to do. And I just remember reaching out to my friend who's out here in China and speaking to her about therapy. Like, she constantly would talk about going to therapy and stuff, and I wasn't really in the know about it. And I remember asking her like, yo, please share the contact with me. I don't know, I've never tried it, but I really am just like needing help, you know what I mean? So so this video is going to be just me sharing with you guys 5 points that I've learned throughout this year in my mental health journey. Mental health for me is something that I put in the backside or in the back seat for a very long time. I didn't take care of myself in terms of mentally and mental health, and I'm getting a little emotional. And it's just like something that I wish I would have done sooner, because guys, as young adults and the traumas that we go through as young people, it really affects the way that we turn out and the way we react to things. And like being able to deal with so much and face some of the trauma that I've dealt with has unlocked and open up space for goodness and joy and happiness. So let's get into this video before more tears. So heads up, in addition to my bubbly personality, I'm also a crier. Like, I'm yin and yang. I'm gonna be ha 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 now and then tears now. Keep the waterworks. So grab tissues, grab water, and let's get into this video. Okay, so the first lesson that I learned over this past year was a lesson that I learned very quickly into my journey, and that was showing up for myself, being going to therapy or going to my sessions in the morning or whatever it be, and actually seeking help was actually not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. And I really felt that more and more when I realized that when I showed up for myself, even when I couldn't get out of bed and couldn't show up and wouldn't want to really like unpack and be emotional and talk about my feelings, those days was really when I needed to show up for myself. I believe that seeking help, and my step of seeking help was like the highest form of showing up for myself. So that was a lesson I learned very quickly, and it was something that really opened my eyes to how sometimes if someone asks you for a favor and they're like, hey, please help me with this, you do whatever it takes to help that person, especially if it's someone you care about. And so therapy for me, like I quickly learned, was like me showing up for myself, doing that favor for myself, making sure I hold my word and really showing up for my sessions and being present and arriving, you know what I mean? So that was a really important lesson for me from the beginning. So the second thing that I learned in therapy, so maybe I should give you a little bit of background about the type of therapy that I do. So it's in addition to speaking and having someone in the room holding space for you, it's also meditation and a lot of breathing. And so in addition to the meditation, there was the voicing and the speaking and writing and journaling. So meditation for me was so profound and so like life-changing, because I never understood, I never knew the power of a deep breath and how in like we take for granted breathing in and breathing out, and how it's so normal to us that we don't even think about it. But the minute, like, I remember like the first couple of times whenever like she'd hit her bell, and then I have to like, okay, inhale, exhale, and make a sound when you exhale. Yo guys, for the first 5 months, that sound was released with tears. Like, I would just break down, and it was like a shedding of the stresses of the week, the worries, it was just like and I'm gonna cry again, but it was like so pivotal for me, because I was always just like go 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 go, and that pause, that sign of, okay, inhale, it's time to show up, and exhale and let go, was such a lesson for me, to show that is a strength that is a sign of strength. Like, crying for me, for the longest time, I was ashamed of, being a baby, and being like, oh, she always cries, and I was like, I would be like, oh my god, apologizing for crying. But I learned, and my therapist actually showed me this, like, yo, this is a good thing that you're able to move emotions like that. And some people can't do that, guys. Some people haven't cried for years. Can you imagine not being able to cry? Gosh, my heart breaks for them. And I just so yeah, that was something that I learned, and it's been like a tool for me to really let go, shed off things, and cry it out. And it's actually making room for new good energy, and releasing all that other, or stuff that needs to be released, or whatever's coming up. The next lesson that I learned in therapy was the fact that we carry so much generational trauma. And when I talk about generational trauma, like, I think of my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, the traumas and stuff that she faced was brought down or carried down to my mother, and so on. And that also was transferred to me and my sister. And that for me was so eye-opening, because firstly, I have my own traumas, and then in addition to that, we're carrying Leo trauma that was never dealt with, that was never released, that was never faced. And I felt, and I saw myself in sessions, like, talking a lot about my grandmother and my mom, and talking about the stuff that I witnessed happen to them. And it was so clear to me that I had to really, like, there was a lot of forgiveness that had to happen, a lot of compassion that had to be shown towards them and some of my family members, and the realization that they did the best that they could with what they had. But they had their own traumas, their own nightmares, their own troubles, and it was like they were able to still raise me and do so well for me. And I think about my mom and the stuff that she went through, and it gets me emotional every time. But I also, the flip side, what I'm learning is, my mother and my grandmother especially, did the best they could with what they had. And it's my job as someone who's been given this opportunity, this resource, to heal for them, and to ensure that those generational traumas don't go down and continue to be transferred to other generations after me, or the generations to come. The next lesson actually feeds in from the last one, which is I need to show myself some self-compassion. Like, that lesson was one that I learned midway. Like, I remember the first couple of sessions, it was like I was ready to explode, you know what I mean? And I walked into that session, that first one, and I was like, this is someone who doesn't know me, who's never gonna judge me. Like, it was so weird. It was like I opened up and I told her everything, all the stuff I was ashamed of, all the stuff I would never tell some of my family members. Like, I told her everything. And then it quickly became apparent that the reason why I wasn't speaking and telling some of my close family members and friends about what was happening was because I wanted to portray this perfect image of Usba is perfect, she doesn't make mistakes, gunje, and I don't want to show them that side of me. And that was part of the reason why I was about to explode, because it was like the trauma was holding it in, like that trauma of not being able to express myself and being able to talk to someone and have someone listen to me. Like that was so hard. So unlearning that and unlearning being hard on myself and learning to show self-compassion and kindness to myself, and understanding that my family members don't expect me to be perfect, and they do care about me, and they love me regardless of whether I make a mistake or not. And that for me was a lesson that I'm still like, that is still a lesson that I'm still learning and trying to learn, and I'm unlearning being hard on myself, and actually sometimes just being okay. And sorry guys about the noise in the background. Being okay with not being perfect, and understanding that, you know, being kind to myself and giving myself some patience is so key, you know. Another thing that therapy taught me was the power of deep breathing. I spoke about this briefly in the beginning of this video, but I wrote something down that I want to say it like I wrote it, and I said being still and quieting my mind helps me figure out where I'm holding whatever it is that is coming up, and I lean into that. When I think about that and quieting my mind, like, guys, my mind is always going, and I, like, when I say going, there's always something happening. There's always a story playing over and over. There's always like a limitation playing over and over. I'm being hard on myself, okay, but I'm still feeling good. Like, there's so many things happening that the power of a deep breath and just pausing for a minute, inhaling and exhaling, and listening in, like, I learned so much about my body and how my body can tell me what I'm carrying or what I'm holding on to and where I'm holding on to that. And sometimes it can be a source of my headache or my shoulder pain or some stress. And being able to actually pause and breathe and lean into that instead of trying to fill that or rather to silence it with doing things or being around people or going out. It was a tough lesson to learn. Like, it was a tough thing to do, to be able to sit by myself. Like, you guys see the good side of it now. You guys are seeing the results of it through my solo dates and the vlogs that I do for you guys. But that transition and that lesson and that process was so difficult, because firstly, you in your mind and you're talking yourself up and you're telling yourself all these stories and you're so hard on yourself, and being able to actually sit with that is so difficult. And it took me time. It took me a lot of tears. It took me a lot of journaling. It took me a lot of speaking about it, about how to process it. And one of the lessons that she taught me, I have like an app where I use, where like it has like it notifies me when it's time to meditate. If you guys want, I can share all the apps with you in the description box. There's another lesson that I learned also with her, was to just, you know, wherever I'm at, just whatever's coming up. Okay guys, I'm losing my lighting, but another lesson that I learned, something that I do whenever I feel myself you know, getting overwhelmed, like, it's to pause, inhale, exhale a few times and ask myself, like, what am I believing to be true right now? And sometimes when I say it out loud and it sounds crazy, and I'm like, sis, what you believe to be true right now is not true. You know what I mean? Like, what are you believing to be true in this instance, in this situation? And sometimes I find myself really having my own story and my own truth that isn't reality. And it's so important to sometimes just like ask yourself, and voicing it and hearing yourself say it actually puts you into check. And so yeah guys, this was a really weird video for me to do, because I've never shared some of the stuff that I'm sharing out loud with people. And but mental health is something that I'm holding onto with like both hands, and I'm running with it because I've seen my life change so much, and how I deal with situations, how I know what I want, and anything that disturbs my peace or disturbs the progress that I'm making, I can immediately eliminate it. And I'm so grateful for that. And I really, like, every time I pray, like before I even go to therapy, I ask God to, like, Lord, you know, show me where you want me to go, and take me to places where you've been before, and not into a place where you haven't been. Like say on how to handle it and to unpack it, because sometimes you know, there's places, like dark places, that, you know, I've buried, that I don't want to go back to, that I experienced as a child, and with trauma. And, you know, having that reassurance that God has been there. He already knows and it's important for me to heal, and to be okay about that story, and not have that story control me and have a hold on me for the rest of my life. Sure, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't overwhelming. I hope you can share. I invite you to comment and tell me where you are in your health, in your mental health journey. Yeah. I feel very nervous, but I'm really, like, empowered by this, because it's giving me, like, I'm getting a little bit vulnerable with you guys, and I think it's so important for you guys to see both sides of me. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and share with anyone who you think would love and enjoy this kind of content. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.